whoever she got the
Shoe
beef with.
salesman?
I don't know whether it was
Al
a shoe
Bundy?
salesman.
I wouldn't fuck with Al Bundy. He's 9-time champion in Polkai. Don't fuck with Al Bundy.
Welcome back to the Unrestricted, folks. I'm Vex. That's RC, the Bulldog. And Bob. Hey, man, what the hell? The sports world feels a little bit like it's on its ear. I think the NBA has tipped over. One of its rising stars, Ja Morant, is suspended, kind of self-suspension from the Memphis Grizzlies for wielding a gun in a strip club. And the NFL is completely...
Was it a strip club?
Yeah, it was a strip club.
See, they never say that. They're like, it was a club.
No, it was Diddy
Why
Bar.
can't ESPN be like, he was open to titter?
And it was like 4 o'clock in the morning.
And it was on
And he had his shirt off, which is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like this was like somebody in the club taking video of him. He posted it on his own Instagram.
Smarty
Oh,
pants.
my God. Oh, so the NBA is on its ear, but the NFL is too. And in a completely different way. It's nobody's in trouble.
When you
except
say
for the
on its
owners.
ear, isn't it just status quo, Jeff?
I don't feel like it is. Not
Do you
this
hold
summer.
you hold these young men to a higher degree?
No, that's not it. It's like, I mean, if we're talking about the NFL, I'm saying this offseason, this quarterback offseason
Oh, it was insane.
is the most insane I've ever seen. And it's not just the number, right? It's not the $40 million that, almost $40 million that Derek Carr just got from the Saints.
That a B- quarterback picks up?
Right.
Or the
it's not-
4-year, $160 million that Daniel Jones just
And
got.
then, what does he always look confused?
Of course he does.
When
And
they-
he's a little cross-eyed. Yeah.
Focus, Daniel. Focus.
That's why he doesn't throw it that well.
Daniel
I'm
said,
telling you.
focus. Which one do I hit? Hit the one in the middle. Good Rocky reference.
Yeah. So, but seriously, if it's almost $40 million for Derek Carr, who is, I think, which one of you said he's a B-.
I did.
Yeah.
He's a mid-level
I think
quarterback.
that sounds about right. He's a B-, right?
Right.
And he's also old. He's been out there for 9 years already. Aaron Rodgers has the Jets bent over, apparently, right now. Lamar,
What's he expecting there?
I have no idea. I mean, we do understand that, like, if the Jets trade for him, they're going to have to give up all the talent that he wants to play with.
And then maybe he gets 2 years?
Does he have 2 years?
What do you do in 2 years?
He wasn't good last year.
And what's the Jets' end game? Fine, you win the NFC or you win the AFC East. Are you better than the Chiefs and Mahomes? Are you better than the Bengals and
Hey,
Burrows? Are you
newsflash.
better than Chargers and Hurt?
Newsflash, they're not beating Buffalo.
No. I don't think so either. I mean, any of those 4 teams you just named, plus the Bills that Richard named, no. The Jets, I don't think they're in that.
So you give away all your
Pantheon.
draft capital. You pay this douche millions of dollars for 2 years of the 5th best team in the AFC. And that's if everything goes right.
I talked to my cousin this morning, who is a diehard Jets fan.
How's he
You know-
doing?
You know the type. No, you don't know this cousin. He's diehard. You know Jets fans like this.
Jets.
Jets fans
I went
are
to school
a
in
different
Jets
breed.
fan country, man.
They are serious.
Long Island.
They're like Cowboys fans, but like maybe
They're on
more
crack.
fanatic.
More
Yeah.
delusional.
Maybe.
They
Well,
like candles to Bill Parcells
He
still.
was screaming at me on the phone this morning. What are we doing? Going after Aaron Rodgers. He's not good anymore. We're going to overpay him. We're not going to be good. Go after somebody else. I said, so who do you want? You want Lamar Jackson? You going to put the $32.5 million out there?
Porn star Jimmy.
For the non-exclusive franchise tag?
They
that
should go
Lamar
after
Jackson
porn
got
star
from
Jimmy.
Baltimore? Porn star Jimmy's an option. Yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, if
If
nothing
I'm Garoppolo,
else,
I don't want to be at the Jets.
if nothing else, last year's NFL with Brock Purdy, with your 49ers, proved that you don't necessarily have to have a Mahomes to win it all. And you certainly don't want to pay 17% of your team's overall cap to one guy and not have anybody surrounding him. It hasn't worked for Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, right? The history's not really there unless you're as good as Patrick Mahomes.
And if you think he was sour in the locker at Green Bay, wait till he gets to New York.
No shit.
I mean, if he signs with the Jets and on the Jets ownership, one of the parts of the deal is, Aaron, you need to come to camp. You need to work OTAs because that was his problem last year. He didn't gel well with his receiving core until about mid-season. That was because he didn't show up to OTAs.
That has a lot to do with it. And I think my Jets fan cousin sees it ahead of him. Like, oh, how many weeks is it going to be before he bitches to the management that his receivers aren't good enough around him, right? That's like 2 weeks in. That's going to begin, right? And like, would they be decent? Yeah, I think they'd be good. They've built a really good roster there in New York. I think they'd be good, but they're not an automatic, AFC championship game.
Not even close.
You know what this whole thing kind of reminds me of? Particularly the Lamar Jackson part of it, where Lamar is like, I want Deshaun money plus X%, and I want it guaranteed, right? And the Ravens are like, yeah, no. Like, we see the error of the Browns with Deshaun Watson, and we're not going to make that same mistake. It reminds me very much of the Rudy Gobert trade in the NBA, where Gobert commanded so many first-round picks. I believe it was 5 for the Utah Jazz. For what?
Yeah.
They're a 6 seed in the West, and they're not good. They're not a 6 seed that's dangerous. They're not good. So what does it get you? And other GMs, when players at the trade deadline in the NBA said, we want to get out, and GM said, well, we want the Rudy Gobert deal for our guy, 5 first-round picks. And other GMs were like, no, you don't understand. That was a mistake. That didn't set the market because that was a fuck-up. Yeah. It was a blip.
But the problem with Lamar is the fact that he's representing himself, he can be delusional about what his worth is. He doesn't have a professional agent going, Lamar, just slow your roll there, cowboy. The Deshaun Watson deal was a mistake. Haslett overpaid for this guy. No other owner is going to come up to that number because no other owner wants to. And oh, by the way, the Ravens don't guarantee contracts generally anyway. So Lamar, you need to slow your roll and think again reasonably what you're worth. Lamar can be in his own delusional Lamar world, and the Ravens did the right thing by putting the non-exclusive tag to show Lamar, hey, dude, wake up, smell the reality. You're not worth on the open market what you think you're worth.
Well, and that's why they did it. They said, okay, well, this is America. Let's let the open market dictate your value.
Yep.
If someone comes and they want to pay you all this money, good for you, bud.
Why does Robert Griffin III, and for those of you that haven't read this yet, Robert Griffin III and J.J. Watt seem to think that there's collusion among ownership to keep Lamar Jackson's price down?
Because that word is incredibly inflammatory and they have no idea what that word really means.
Collusion?
Yeah. I mean,
I think it's a fancy word for we're in cahoots.
Yes, cahoots. Yes, cahoots. And because of its spelling, I think cahoots seems
it's
like lower brow than collusion.
Well, Hooters.
Because there's like 2 O's and is there a TZ?
Well, when I was little, I was like thought being in cahoots would be like being around girls with big boobs. I just want to get myself into cahoots.
It sounds like 2 boobs that stay close together.
Yeah,
they're in cahoots.
They're in cahoots.
I mean,
close enough to touch.
Robert Griffin III should know Lamar Jackson. I mean, he played 3 years under him.
Yeah,
in the Ravens, but
not under him, behind him.
Behind him,
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, let's get our positions correct.
But to collude, no. I just think it's a situation where I don't think he's a fit for many other teams, and they're not going to pay him what he thinks he's worth. Therefore, if I'm the owner sitting in the Dolphins and going, wait, you think you're worth Deshaun Watson money, so if I come with you a half of that deal, you're just going to laugh at me. So why do I even do anything with you?
Let me flip this on you. Because the numbers that these quarterbacks are commanding, the 40 million range, 45 is the exclusive franchise tag. It's a boatload of money, and the percentage of cap is somewhere near a fifth of your overall team cap.
So let me get this straight. This is what I think is bullshit in the NFL. Running backs who get the absolute dog shit beat out of them.
Yep.
Every week. Franchise tag is $10.05 million. Quarterback, and you can be a fucking dog. and get tagged because your ownership doesn't know what they want to do yet.
Yep. Kirk Cousins had that happen a couple times. Alex Smith had that happen a couple of times. Yeah.
Pick up 45M.
That's the nature of the beast. Don't let the number freak you out. Because let's not forget, and this is where I'm going to flip it on you guys. Let's not forget that Dak Prescott is one of those guys making $40 million.
Shh.
And remember,
I pretend like that's not true.
and remember, this is where the franchise tag numbers come from. It's not a made up number that somebody threw out here.
It's the
top
medium of the
five.
top 5.
Yeah. So when you have Haslip spending $250 million for Deshaun, when you have the Giants spending $40 million a year for Daniel Jones, yeah, it's going to go up. And
Simple Jack.
and the difference between those top 5 quarterbacks,
Simple Jack.
don't ever go full retard. And the bottom half of the quarterbacks, there's a bigger drop off in the top 32 quarterbacks than there are in the top 32 running backs.
Yeah.
The 15th best running back is interchangeable with the 25th best running back.
Completely true. So here's where I'm going to flip it. Are you telling me you wouldn't rather pay Deshaun Jackson, Lamar Jackson, $32.7 million, the non-exclusive franchise tag? You telling me you wouldn't rather pay Lamar Jackson if you're the Dallas Cowboys that number than you would Dak at 40? Because I got to be honest with you, I want to see it. I'm here for that.
If I'm a Cowboys fan, I don't want that because I don't trust Schottenheimer and McCarthy to retool their offense for Lamar Jackson, which is going to be a different offense than it is for Dak Prescott.
I'm here for it. I want to see it. I don't care. Dak is the better thrower. There's no question. I am here for that.
Okay.
Okay? And it is odd to me that teams aren't jumping for Lamar Jackson. He absolutely changes your franchise into a competitor day one.
And I think it all comes down to he's representing himself. He
Yeah.
doesn't have a buffer between him and the other teams. For the other teams to tell his agent, listen, these are our problems with him, and he gets to and his agent deals with them, as opposed to the other team going to Lamar, hey man, you suck. And Lamar going, ah!
Yeah, imagine those negotiation talks are probably
Lamar's not the sharpest tool in the shed, it doesn't seem. Is that what you're getting at?
Most
Don't put
football
words-
players aren't.
don't put words in my mouth.
Okay.
But it's probably like a number scribbled on a napkin. And then they all look at it and they start laughing.
Yeah.
And he gets up and he walks out.
There are more teams in need of a great quarterback than there are great quarterbacks. That's why you see Derek Carr, the B, right? Like the ugliest available girl at the party.
He has a losing record.
Yeah, by far. It's like 67 and 83.
And he just got paid how much a year? 40?
Just under 40. Just shy of 40.
God.
So
there's something going on about Lamar Jackson, whether it's his lack of representation, whether it's cahoots or collusion, whichever C word you want to use.
Goats.
There's something going on. There is something going on that's telling those teams.
Well, the way that he
stay away.
handled his injury, and it basically just pulled himself out, and he thought he was going to create leverage. Well, guess what? It backfired on him.
he has sat out, or he has missed, I should say, 5 games in each of the last 2 seasons, so 10 games total. He only missed 4 games the previous 2 years. So there is, I think,
And his playing style is electric to watch. Unbelievable.
Yep.
But he's never slid in his life. He's one hit away from being on the D side of a Fox Sports Network show.
And to give
you think he's good enough on air for that?
Maybe they'll just have him and he'll smile a lot. I don't know.
Yeah, Lamar, no.
to give credit to Lamar, he has retooled his game a little bit. He's not the quarterback he was when he started. I think he's become a much better pocket passer, a much better quarterback in the NFL. The problem for me is, you talked about it a little bit of, I don't know whether we'll call it culture fit or whatever. Fine, sit. Your knee is injured. Great. But get on the plane and go to the playoff game, you jerk.
Yeah, that showed me a serious lack of leadership. And I think he lost Baltimore's locker room at that moment in time. I mean, look, that doesn't mean he can't get another one. there, I'm going to say it again. There are more teams that need a great quarterback than there are great quarterbacks to be had. This is like musical chairs, and somebody's going to get left without a quarterback. If you're the Jets, so none of our favorite team, right? Like, we're taking our fandom out of it. No Cowboys, no 49ers. If you're the Jets and you get to choose between a $45 million Aaron Rodgers or a, let's say, $35 million Lamar Jackson,
Lamar all
I'd
day.
take
I'm
Lamar.
with you.
All day.
I'm with you 100%.
Because at least he's likable. The stuff that Aaron's done, he's unlikable. He's dangerous at any speed. I mean, he probably should have gotten the Jeopardy gig, but he's such a dick, they didn't even want him.
Yeah, he blew that, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
Blossom got it.
The Cowboys.
Hey, I like her.
I like Blossom too. She's a sharp gal.
The Cowboys have been oddly quiet, and it makes me wonder what's going on. It really does.
I think they're going to sign OBJ.
Oh, please don't.
I really think they are.
Oh, please don't.
I really.
I don't see how that helps.
I don't think it does. It's just it's the circus, man.
They got to shore up Tony Pollard. Did they shore up?
Yeah,
they did.
they-
Yeah, they did.
They franchise tagged him.
Franchise Tony Pollard.
10.05 million.
And then they got to get rid of Zeke, right?
Yeah, and that's going to be hard
Why?
because Jara loves him. Loves him. We've talked about this. The only prerequisite to be a Jerry guy is to say, I love you, Jerry.
Yeah.
Same thing with Trump.
Yeah, he's very similar, isn't he?
Yeah.
You just gotta say you love him.
You want a cabinet seat?
Just got to be loyal.
Just ride or die.
But
So-
Elliott is no better than the average running back.
Well, and here's what I felt bad for him, but now I don't really, because when they gave him that stupid contract, he already has earned all his guaranteed money.
Mm-hmm.
So my boy's got $60 million in the bank.
Wait, were you considering feeling sorry for him?
A little bit.
No. He's gotten paid.
Yeah.
Okay? Whether he plays another meaningful down in the NFL or not, his kids have generational wealth.
I don't know if he has. Well, I don't know if he's claiming any
Okay.
kids.
And I don't know if he saved a penny. But
It's
theoretically,
hard to spend $60 million.
theoretically,
Mhm.
they have generational wealth.
They should.
As we were talking about Lamar Jackson and his playing style, it occurred to me he is wonderful to watch. He is as exciting as anybody
Yeah.
in the NFL. I mean,
He's Michael Vick on steroids.
he is that. He's kind of the John Morant of the NFL.
well,
I
don't think
love.
he's waving
Minus the
guns
gun?
and shit.
No.
And
I'm
slapping
talking about.
teenagers in the face.
I'm talking about playing style.
Okay.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Playing style, because Ja
It's
is
electric to
for-
watch.
He is, man. He is.
His ups, he can dunk from anywhere in the building.
He's skinny, but he's a pogo stick. He's fast. He flies.
Yeah.
I mean, he is absolutely a must-watch athlete, kind of like Lamar. And I am truly worried that his wannabe gangsterism, needing to be the one of his friends who carries the gun and shows it and puts it on his own Instagram, there is a level of immaturity and of stupidity to that is super concerning. And if I were the NBA or if I were the Memphis Grizzlies, not only would I be making Ja take this leave of absence to get his head right, I would start with this. Hey, Ja, we're hiring you a security team. It's going to be 3 dudes. They're the biggest dudes you've ever seen. They're all former defensive tackles. They're all going to be they're all going to carry so that you don't have to. If you really feel like your life is threatened out there in Memphis, let these dudes be your protectors.
He thinks he's a badass. He didn't think his life is threatened. As the kids say, he's flexing. He wants that smoke.
I think you're right. That was a
I mean,
flex.
Yeah.
Showing his gun in a strip club, that was a flex.
Thug life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's weird. John Moran is not a thug.
He's not. No, he
He's-
wasn't.
His mama and his daddy, still married, by the way, did not raise a thug. Like, he's a middle-class kid. His mom and dad have been super present in his life. His dad basically trained him to be this great player. Like, he has a support system in place. And his parents are part of the problem. Did you read about this? His mother got in an argument at whatever shoe store. It wasn't Foot Locker, but it was like Foot Locker. Got in some argument at the Foot Locker, called her son and said, get down here. Somebody's giving me shit at the Foot Locker. And Ja comes and shows up with 9 dudes.
Gonna beat up the foot guy, the
Whoever she got the
shoe
beef with.
salesman.
I don't know whether it was
Al
a shoe
Bundy?
salesman.
I
don't know-
wouldn't fuck with Al Bundy. He's 9-time champion at Polk High. Don't fuck with Al Bundy.
I don't know whether it was an employee in the Stripes or whether it was another customer. I have no idea. It doesn't matter. But if you're his mom and you have beef with somebody at the Foot Locker, first of all, why are you at Foot Locker? Your son has like a $200 million Nike contract.
Shouldn't your
Why
shoes
don't-
be free?
Yeah, you just call Phil Knight like direct and say, give me shoes, don't
Yeah,
you?
make a mold of your foot.
I don't know why you're
Send
at Foot
it to
Action.
Oregon.
So she's at Foot Action, and she decides, because I have this beef, I'm going to call my multimillionaire, spotlights on him, superstar of the NBA son. Don't you have somebody else you can call, like your husband or another kid or a friend or anyone, except for the guy who has basically $400 million in contracts between Nike and the Grizzlies? Mom, you're part of the problem. And by the way, here's the second part of that. Dad's part of the problem. T. Morant.
He likes that tough guy bullshit.
Well, he likes that, and he really likes to drink, like a lot.
Yeah.
And there's you read and you follow John Morant on his Instagram, and you realize John Morant drinks a lot, like a lot, between games. And some players throughout history, they could do that, right? He's not the first. It's not the end of the world. If you want to be a guy who can go out and then play the next day, Allen Iverson did it, Charles Barkley did it. The list goes on, right? But that kid's supposed to be the face of the NBA. And
He's not right now.
he's supposed to be the next.
But thinking of faces, here's where I think you went wrong. Whenever you shave lines into your eyebrows,
It's a bad decision.
it's a bad decision.
Yeah. I've never done it. You?
Um,
You probably did.
look at me.
Yeah, you did at some point.
No.
Yes, you did.
What the fuck?
Not during your tough guy phase.
That's not tough.
And by the way, it's not over.
Oh no. That is not tough. That's bad news.
Yeah,
Bad
you're right. And I think what you're getting to is that sort of wannabeism that Ja seems to have. And he's got to get rid of that. And his parents have got to help him realize who he is and who he is not, and get past this wannabeism.
It's like why do you want to tear up your lottery ticket?
Don't.
Don't do it.
Yeah. And by the way, I think it's interesting because I think most people really want to see John Morant turn this thing around.
Well,
Nobody wants to see him ruin his lottery ticket.
2 months ago they did, but the stuff that he keeps doing. I guess it was last summer. He was playing a pickup game at his house. Had a bunch of teenagers over. I think the kid threw a pass into his face, and he goes and gets a gun and then punches the kid like 15 times.
17-year-old kid. Yeah.
Yeah, like really.
Strike one.
Hey Jeff, let's roll to the junior school and fuck some kids up.
Strike two was like a month ago when his friends allegedly shown a laser pointer
Oh yeah, at the bus,
at the other team's, the
What
Indiana
a
Pacers bus.
dickhead.
Strike two.
PSA,
And-
don't buy laser pointers.
And this is strike three, right? Like,
That baseball, you're out.
yeah. And look, Ja's dad, T, y'all have seen him, right? Sitting courtside.
Well, he started the
He
fight
looks a
with
lot-
Shannon Sharp, right?
He did. And he
So
started
that's strike 3.5.
he started a fight with Karl Anthony Towns' dad, I think it was.
We should just get Lonzo Ball's dad to come and whip his ass.
That's actually a great idea.
That would be a great
Get
pay-per-view.
Get LeVar Ball
Yeah.
versus T. Morant.
The first 30 minutes of the fight would be them talking shit to each other.
Yeah.
And then the fight would probably last 42 seconds.
Like a John Jones fight.
Yeah, just the slap punch.
But T. Morant drinks a lot courtside.
Well, I think
Like
you
a
let them
lot.
drink as much as they can before the fight. During the shit talk session, they're crushing drinks. Smoking weed, too, I hope.
Moran
This is a great
versus
idea.
Ball brought to you by Proper Number 12.
Yes, yes.
Did you see McGregor this weekend? Holy cow, he's fat.
Yeah, he's thick.
He is fat.
He's thick.
Oh my God. I don't know that he's going to fight anytime soon.
Well,
if ever again.
He hasn't gotten back into the testing protocol, and he has to be in the testing protocol for 6 months. So I think what he's doing is he stopped taking the juice, and then now it's just chunk mass.
Oh my God. I mean, he was swollen in the face, like in the cheek regions.
Yeah.
His face looked like a dinner plate.
I bet his hat size went from a 7 to an
Yes.
8.6.
Yes.
That's what happened to Bonds.
He was auditioning for the Whale sequel.
Yes.
Poor Brendan Fraser.
Let me reel this back to T. Morant real quick. He's got to stop drinking during his son's games and then going out with his son and their friends.
Was he at the
after
Titter?
the games. No, I don't think he was on this
Because it was a
particular
road game.
occasion. Yeah. But he hangs around with them. Stop being a friend to your son, right?
And be a fucking dad.
Yeah.
Or,
Be the man in the room.
or,
right?
or hire someone to be the voice of reason. I mean, it's almost like
Well, that's what
to
Jerry
liken to
would
Lamar
do.
Jackson is you need someone to be the voice of reason. John Morant, you need someone to call you on your shit while you're doing it.
That's why I suggested security guards.
Well, so
like he needs a team around him, not hangers on.
no, Jerry would hire babysitters for
Yes.
Alden Smith.
Yes.
When he came back, for the guy that stood him up at the altar that's now with the Denver Broncos. Get him a male babysitter.
Yes, the Cowboys have done it. If I were the NBA, I'm serious. If I were Adam Silver, I would be telling the Grizzlies, you have to do this. Like this guy needs.
Wrangle this dude in.
Yeah, he is. Can you name me, either one of you, an American player, an American-born player with the superstar upside of John Morant?
No,
Not right now.
not right
There's
now.
not one. I mean, you want to give me Jason Tatum? He's a great player, but like he doesn't have the superstar upside that John Morant has. You want to tell me Zion Williamson? Okay.
Is he
You're
even
in the
playing right
ballpark,
now?
but he doesn't play. He never stays healthy.
He's
And by the way, John
hovered over a
Morant,
bowl of red beans and rice.
John Morant, we started this by talking about his playing style, which resembles Lamar Jackson's in the NFL. John Morant plays with such reckless abandon. I'm not sure that going out until 4 o'clock in the morning and giving your body a minimum recovery time and flying through the air the way he does, the harsh landings, the physical contact, I'm not sure that those two things jive very well for having a long career and for being the face of the NBA for a long portion. He's got to get right. The league and the Grizzlies and his family have got to step up and all row in the same direction to get this kid to where he needs to be, because I think we all love watching him play. I mean, he's just amazing.
Yeah, he's got to figure it out.
Speaking of hoops, can Texas Tech keep a coach? God bless.
Oh my God.
Poor Mark Adams. I mean, sort of poor Mark Adams. I mean, I don't know whether using slave language with a player.
Pick a different portion of the Bible. go with John 3:16 for criminy sake.
For those who don't know, Mark Adams, head coach of the Texas Tech Red Raiders basketball team, suspended for using racially insensitive language. And that racially insensitive language came from?
The Bible.
Mm-hmm. But you're right. Choose a different verse.
There's so many of them.
There are.
Well, what they should do is they should just say, all right, fuck it. Chris Beard, redo.
Yeah.
Bring him back.
Hey, man, don't be surprised.
Well, no, he's been in Mississippi for the past 2 weeks. Ole Miss wants him.
Really?
Yeah,
I did not read this.
buddy, that's why I'm a real student of the game.
We got you.
That's right.
Well, Texas Tech better pull out all the stops to get him back. That Texas Tech basketball team is not bad.
No,
I mean, they beat Kansas early. They're not bad.
no.
Okay. They're, they got talent and the program has been awesome,
Yep.
but they can't keep a coach. Holy shit. What a mess.
Yeah, that's incredibly tone deaf, stupid. I'm sorry. Go sit somewhere for a while. Go sit in the corner, wear a dunce cap.
No kidding. Masters in a month. The players this weekend.
The fifth major.
The fifth major. It's whatever you required by law to say it.
Absolutely. It's the tagline. The players, the fifth major.
Uh-huh. So as we talk about the players, I can't help but look a month ahead at Augusta and, recent news that 17 guys from the Live Tour are going to be playing in Augusta, including Oak Hill's own Abraham Answer. But those are guys that qualified, that still meet the qualifications that get them into the Masters.
Mhm.
So break down the qualifications.
Well, there's too many to list, right? So
Give me a
when you top
couple.
when you top 10, you get in for the next year at the Masters.
Okay.
If you've won a major in the last 5 years,
You get 5 years.
if you are a champion, a former champion of
Forever.
that's a forever. And if you're top 50 in the world golf rankings,
Based off points.
Right. So
and these live boys don't get any points.
they're not earning they're not earning world golf ranking points since they went to live. But several of them, built
Have
up
won.
enough
From last year.
in past years to be able to qualify for this year.
Right.
And the Masters is just kind of sitting back, kicking back, saying, well, time will tell. Are you guys going to be able to earn enough points to qualify for 2024? We'll see. But the Masters really doesn't have to make an edict.
Well, because they have their own rules.
Yeah.
They can invite whoever they want to.
Mm-hmm.
But
or not invite someone they don't want to.
Yeah.
Right.
It'll be interesting whether some of these live guys who are former champions, like Dustin Johnson, Phil Mickelson, whether they're invited to the Champions Dinner. That's a whole other ball of wax.
Oh, because the PGA puts that together.
No, not at all. That's just Augusta National's thing.
Okay.
But is Augusta going to say, yeah, come on back in? My guess is they will.
I think they will.
They always have treated their champions well. I think they'll continue to.
I think they look at this as just outside noise. Their tournament's their tournament.
Well, I mean, the easiest non-controversial thing for them to do is if you qualified, you play. If you're a champion, attend a dinner, and just leave it at that, and just brush it off. Going, we're not going to make a controversial decision. If you qualified, you play.
That's exactly what they're doing. It's
Yeah.
so smart.
And I think people are tired of Monahan's.
Maybe
Too little, too late.
a lot of people want him fired.
It's a sport that has the same rules since it was started.
Yeah.
And for a lot of those reasons, it's why we love it, the tradition. But you have to adapt.
I think we're seeing that.
And the only reason
Is it too
why
late?
is because I don't think it's too late, but there's going to be growing pains as we've seen. But anybody that tries to be bigger than the game, fuck you.
Yeah, I'm sort of with you on that.
Mhm.
Arnie and Jack, those guys, Gary Player, they could have done this a
Yep.
long time ago.
Yep.
No, I'm sort of with you on that.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have done it. But to each their own, and it's a lot of money. I don't blame them for having done it.
It's a lot of money.
I mean, kind of got to take it sometimes.
Yeah.
Lay odds that a Live Tour member wins Masters.
Ooh.
I'd say 25% chance.
Nah, it's not quite that high. I don't think any of them are playing that well. I mean,
Yeah, but here's the thing about Dustin. He's a fucking specimen.
he is that.
And there's
so is Brooks.
nothing in his ears.
Yeah.
So the noise is not going to matter. If he gets hot,
He just hasn't been playing that well.
And don't
but who knows? Because no one's seen it.
Yeah.
How do you know yet? He might be playing great.
He's not winning the way he was winning on the PGA Tour when he was #1 in the world.
And
That's all.
don't sleep on mulleted Cameron Smith.
That's the guy
Yeah.
I was going to point to.
Yep.
Cam Smith could easily win this thing. Look, Abraham Answer had a chance to win this a couple years ago.
That
Like,
would be awesome.
We'd all go ape
Batshit crazy.
Yes.
I'd be hanging out at your 19
Yes,
like
you
I
will.
own that motherfucker. Could you please cross chart this over to Bushwood?
Hey, by the way, I watched a little bit more of Full Swing, which we talked about last week on the pod. I got to be honest, it's boring. It bores me. It's really boring. And I think the reason that it's boring to me is because the storylines are a year fucking old.
Yeah. It's not in real
I-
time.
I have no earthly idea why they're doing it like this. They could easily record, produce, and put out these shows within a couple weeks. Let's just say it's 3 weeks after the event happens and you release these things. You're building momentum for your brand, for your tour, for your players during the current year. a year later, it's like a retrospective.
But
It's boring to
it's
me.
Netflix's schedule.
Yeah, I'm saying they got to change that. If I were them, I would make Full Swing the Inside the NBA. Remember Inside the NBA?
Yeah.
Ahmad Rashad, Hannah Storm. Like that was big. That was important shit for us on Saturday mornings as kids who cared about basketball. I would make it like that, but I would release it on Netflix, and that's how I would make it.
But you are not the target audience.
I realize that. I realize that completely. They need people who don't already watch the tour. And the only way to do that isn't this like annual retrospective.
But remember, for the target audience, it's not a retrospective. It's an introduction.
Because they don't know what's going on.
Well,
real
maybe
time.
okay.
Drive F1 series, that was the formula for them. It's a introduction to it to get you excited about it and start watching it.
And to your point, I've actually talked to two people who are not golf fans who said they loved it and
Yeah.
they were interested in the storylines. Of course I'm right. I'm Bob. He says. You're right. Maybe I'm not the target. But they need to make this more interesting. And it just can't be this stale. Maybe it's a good introduction. Maybe it's good to have this one time. But going forward, like, how do you keep those people interested? It's not release another Full Swing in another calendar year, is it? To me, I would build momentum, and I would be releasing them every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks.
I think you can do. I mean, the PGA has enough money in the cushions to do something else. I like the idea of a retrospective and introduction to the sport for the people that don't watch it, and then something that is more for the wongs.
Yeah. And it's not what they're putting on the Golf Channel, by the way. Like that's for wonks. That's for us serious wonks. They could spruce it up, make it cool for kids.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what I would do if I were doing Full Swing. You guys got anything else to add? Do you know where Lamar lands? Best bet.
I think he stays one more year.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't.
I
I've been
don't
saying
think
this
so.
for
I think
I've been
that
saying
ship
this
has
for
sailed.
4 months that he's not a Raven.
No.
Now where, I don't know. I have places where I think he'd be a good fit.
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay
That's what
wouldn't
I'm
be
calling.
bad.
That's what I'm calling.
Miami wouldn't be bad.
Yeah.
To replace the concussion-laden Tua.
I don't know if they want to pay 2 quarterbacks.
Is there any news on Tua?
No.
Like he went into the life protocol.
So, I've been trying to think where else.
What about like Carolina?
Interesting.
Carolina right now projected to pick up Richardson in the draft. If they sign Lamar, that's out the window.
Oh,
Right.
that reminds me. Did you guys watch the Combine?
I watched
Oh my
parts of it.
God.
I watched a few minutes. I watched the quarterbacks. I watched some 40 stuff.
Yeah.
There are planes with less of a wingspan than Richardson.
Yeah,
He's a
I
huge-
understand that this
huge
Florida
man.
kid, what's his first name? Anthony? Is
Mhm.
that right? Anthony Richardson? Okay, so he's a specimen. What do he run?
4.44.
Okay, how big is he?
6'4.5", 244. Lots of
Wingspan what?
7 foot.
He also completed like 51% of his passes
There you
in
go.
college.
And he didn't even start last year.
Just because you have the physical gifts doesn't mean you can use them.
That's why everybody falls in love with the Combine.
The underwear Olympics, man.
Yep.
Well,
Fuck the Combine. Can't
But
stand it.
I mean, the draft and drafting is not about what the player is now. It's about what you think the player is projected to be.
I understand that completely.
So his ceiling, based on his physical attributes, pretty high.
So where do you think he's going to go? Like, who's going to be the idiot who jumps, and how high will they jump?
It's got Oakland or Las
It kinda
Vegas
does.
Raiders written
kinda does.
all over it.
Actually, that wouldn't be a bad idea. Get Garoppolo in on free agency. You have a veteran quarterback who can lead the team. Coach that guy up. Bring him on in a year or two. That's beautiful. I love that.
The thing that I took away from the Combine, particularly watching the quarterbacks more than anything else, our guy, Stetson Bennett, the 19th, ran fast. He was like 4.67.
I mean, fast-ish.
Dude, that's really good. That's really good. And by the way, did you watch him in the throwing drills?
He was good.
He was really good.
Mel Kiper fell in love with him.
His arm
Mel-
looks great.
Mel's like he's a 4th rounder now.
You said, Richard, a few months ago,
Draft him.
draft him like right now.
Well, so I'm obviously a Cowboys idiot. They're going to take a quarterback and hope for that there's some Purdy action, because if Dak starts doing Dak stuff, 2022, 2023 Dak stuff, they'll have somebody that can come in and play.
Stetson Bennett might be that guy.
That wouldn't be a bad idea.
I would love it. Or that there's a lot of smoke for the Cowboys around the kid from Houston.
Really?
Yes. He started 4 years in Houston, and he's ready to play. Last name Case, I think.
Tune.
That's right. Chase Tune.
No, Clayton.
Gosh, I was
Clayton
so close.
Tune.
Like, never.
I mean, Chris Berman is looking at this guy going, okay, Clayton out of tune, Clayton in tune.
Yeah.
You know
Nicknames
he
abound.
is.
What's your favorite tune?
No, he is.
But they like him, apparently. So, I mean, I don't know.
I think that's probably not a bad idea. I mean, and the nice thing about Stetson Bennett, that's a mature quarterback. You're not getting a
Fuck, he's older than
21-year-old.
Jeff.
I know, right?
So maybe.
It's interesting.
No, I like that.
We shall see. Gentlemen, I enjoyed it. We'll see you in a week.
I might be calling in because I'm going to be in Colorado.
Yeah, I might be too. It might be more than a week.
Okay, we'll see you when we see you.
Thanks.
You might do something.
Like and subscribe. The Unrestricted.
It might be Bob just talking about Star Trek.
How y'all feel out there? Do you feel good? I said, do you feel good? Come on. The groove feel good when it make you move.